Here we are live. So namaskar and greetings of the year from DBHS International. Wonderful evening to all of you. Myself, Debjani Biswas, Marketing Head of DBHS International. Today we are live with an exceptional live talk show with two visionaries and the two fantabulous communicators, Mr. Alan Carter from UK, who is an HSC professional with more than 40 years of HSC knowledge and one of the great speaker of our DBHS International, none other than our respected CEO, Dr. Debjyoti Biswas. They both are here to embark their knowledge on HSC awareness. So without much taking time, I would request our Debjyoti sir to please proceed, and once more with your precious words, you can please introduce our Alan sir. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Namaste to all of you. Hare Krishna. Praise the Lord and Happy New Year and the greatest afternoon, evening of the season. And we are so happy and delightful. And I'm very thrilled actually to have none other than the HSC legend of DBHSC and the globe, Mr. Alan Carter from England. Now, before we start this auspicious interview rounds with Mr. Alan Carter, I would like to say a lot of things to all of you. So we have just started this new year, and I hope and I wish and I pray to the Lord that whoever is fighting with their odds, getting some challenges, my prayers to all of you and for all of you is that please, if possible, consider the challenges and change into the possibilities. And here, what we say, the risk assessment of the life. So today, we have the HSC legend. So I'm in a mood to have a lot of HSC discussions and using the HSC terms. So how we can identify the life hazards and put the life control measures, also we will get to know from Mr. Alan Carter. And before he starts speaking, let me introduce him as one of our most elite and the prestigious learner who has just obtained and achieved OTHM Level 6, which is the British UK qualification of Diploma in Occupational Health and Safety. So we would like to hear about his journey, that what motivated him to join the DBHSC. And we also would like to know any kind of message that he has for all of us, working for 4 decades in this HSC field, serving for us, for the workers, and for everyone. I think he has saved thousands of people's life in his 40 years of career in health and safety. Still, he is maintaining his CPD. So, sir, Mr. Alan Carter from England, having robust 40 years of experience, I would like to unmute yourself and please introduce about yourself. We are waiting to hear from you and your accomplishment journey of OTHM Level 6 with DBHSC and the message that you want to give to all of us, and the world wants to hear from you, sir. Please unmute your call.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Debjyoti, and particular thanks to Debjani and all of the staff and tutors of DBHSC International. I feel I've come to know you all very, very well over my last 12 months of journeying with you. And indeed, a warm welcome to everybody who's tuned in today and who, of course, may watch the video later on YouTube. So very well done. I am humbled to meet you all, and I would like to thank you for inviting me to contribute to your great efforts. The situation regarding my own journey is of course unique to me, but I think we can all benefit from hearing a different perspective, and there are probably many parallels to those of others who are undertaking the journey for IDIPOSH or AOSH or indeed occupational health and safety training, and those who perhaps have been doing their professional works for some years in terms of extending their knowledge and keeping up to date. So thank you for letting me contribute.
Thanks a lot, sir. Thanks a lot. That's indeed what you said. And the second thing that we want to hear from you, sir, that why do you think it is always an important task for all the HSE professionals to maintain the CPD, and also and our OTHM level 6 learners, they're actually requesting me, because every time, and also I want to tell to all the attendees and the viewers and those who are interested to take part in the level 6 qualification, then we have Mr. Alan Carter's complete the transformative journey from the institute to whom he doesn't know about it, and to the institute who becomes one of his favorite institute in terms of all of his career development. So I really would like to inform all of you that please visit the YouTube page of DBHSC. You will find out the video of Mr. Alan Carter. So if you have any question related to anything, how you will start and how you will end, he has made an amazing, captivating presentation with the help of each and everything he has shared. So that will be a much help for you. So the second question for me to you, Mr. Alan, that what message and motivation you want to give to all the learners, whoever, it's not about the learners who are only doing OTHM level 6, all the learners, like everyone, whoever does any courses. So what kind of motivation and message you want to give to all of them, sir?
Okay, well, thank you again, Dr. Debjyoti. The presentation I'll make is about my own journey, as I say. But in terms of the parallels, I mean, you were very gracious in introducing me as a legend and epic proportions in terms of the presentations I make, but I really do speak with a humble heart. I come from a very simple background, and I cover a lot of different professional areas. But let me say, you know, on the background, what led me to DBHSE? Well, I come from a commercial and technical route. I was originally a young engineer, and then went into the world of inspection in the 80s. And it's really at that point that I started as a junior inspector in terms of assuring health and safety. Alongside the development of the health and safety in those days was the emergence of environmental concerns, perhaps a little bit later than the 80s, perhaps the 90s. Although the Brundtland report, if someone would care to look that up, does mention the very subjects that we now cover under sustainability. So some 30 years later before we got to grips with that. And equally, the health and safety and the quality aspects, they were all emerging around the same time. In the UK, we had a white paper called Quality and International Competitiveness, and that was in 1982. So that's really, you know, really the mushroom started to develop and explode from that point. That led then to me, you know, following a route of a technical and managing director in compliance. And as I've described on my videos on YouTube, which you mentioned, as time's gone on, I was looking for some education and training to suit my background. And that led me to DBHSE. DBHSE, I did research a lot of different providers. DBHSE is a recognized provider. They do offer courses and things beyond level 6, but I chose level 6 as a very good level for my needs. And I think it's fair to say that any professional entering and having gained a little experience would probably migrate naturally towards a level 6 diploma. And the situation on comparison terms with other providers you know, HSE, they're a provider of good repute. They have an international delivery base. They're not new to the market, nor are they new to the subject. They're tutors, and I would like to reference with particular respect Mr. Tuhin, although I'm sure they're all of the same high caliber. He presented himself very, very well, and he gave me, you know, obviously ongoing support and materials, but through the platform that that you've managed to embrace in WhatsApp, this opened my eyes to just how versatile that platform was with your overseas and international training, because I do appreciate there are some countries that have difficulty with Wi-Fi, there are some countries that have difficulty with certain software, and WhatsApp, you seem to have been able to reach everybody, so very well done, and congratulations on that. So what struck me most then is the high quality of not just yourself as the principal representing, you know, DBHSE International, but also the excellent tutor delivery and indeed the support of your back office staff. Because, you know, when you are undertaking a significant course, which a level 6 diploma is, it's significant, it's a high level, it's a degree equivalent. You know, you need to know that you're going to be supported, and all of these key ingredients are applicable to DBHSE as a training provider. And as I say, that leveraging of the service through WhatsApp makes that service available to all. Excellent. So as I say, the experience shone through, the capability shone through, and this is why I selected DBHSE for my continuing development. And this is what suited my background as a technical professional at management, senior management, board level, who needs to be maintained in terms of being up to date with the latest technology and application. So thank you for that.
Perfect. The way you delivered is like I'm a student and I'm just witnessing that how should I choose DBHSE for the courses or not?
Exactly. Yeah, this is the point I was at, and when I crossed all the I's and you know, dotted all the I's, crossed all the T's, other providers fell by the wayside, and DBHSE International, John, you see, and I would suggest this. I mean, it's a risk assessment, if anything else, but this aspect of due diligence, which is definitely what it is, leads you to quite quickly realize that if you need something, particularly with an international flavoring, obviously in the UK here we have the Health and Safety Executive, and we can do any number of things around that, but the International Labour Organization is truly an international base.
Yeah.
And that is, as I say, particularly attractive to somebody like myself who deals with international global companies on the subject of health and safety, each with their own particular nuances in their relevant regions. So, yeah, DBHSE, Sean.
I'm flabbergasted to witness your experience. So, and also I also would like to appreciate you, because you know what, we also have some retired British Army, those who are completing their level 3 ISMS, and I have sent the video link to them, and they are like, oh my God, we have such an expert around us. I'd like to connect with him to have more robust career in HSE field. I said, yeah, you should do that. So we are also trying to help people with your message that you have you have presented. So, and the second question I want to ask you, sir, that what message you want to give to the HSE professionals? It means how they need to work and what are the ethics they need to maintain every time. See, there are a lot of people, let's say, if I work for 10 to 15 hours a day, it is not possible for me to study whatever task I'm getting, or also it's not possible for me to attend a live session. But still, in order to maintain the CPD and sustain and retain my job and look forward to the continual development of my journey, I have to study. So I have to obtain this kind of certificate, prestigious certificate, not only for my job purpose, but also for my knowledge upgradation and keeping my CPD maintained. So in this kind of problem that people face issues with live session, and after the tiring day, they do not want to study, but still, we can see after the COVID-19, it is a requirement for every HSC professionals to keep on updating their, like obtaining their certificates and maintaining their CPD. So I want you to give a message to all our DBHSC learners and all the learners whoever pursue a qualification from every respective and respected learning centers all around the globe, that how they should like keep on revising and study, and what motivation they should give to himself or herself, and how they need to like go through these all problems and making the challenges to an opportunity to learn more and upgrade more. So how did you do, and what message you want to give to every learners, that how and why they need to study, revise, and how they can obtain the certificates. So what exactly they need to do, sir? We want to hear from you, sir.
Okay. Well, I can only again speak from my point of view, but this is where my own background comes into it as well.
Yeah.
I'll just give a brief introduction to myself. I was I grew up with a very humble background, but I ended up developing and becoming managing director and founder of QA International Certification Limited, which is a global player, and we employed, around 800 staff across the globe through multiple offices across different regions. We were predominantly China, Middle East, Far East, and Europe, which just about covers everything. And I currently am a strategic advisor and guest speaker to TIC industry organizations. So my CPD requirements are quite broad. The technical and commercial, managerial, as well as typical SHEC type subjects, safety, health, environment, and quality. So I have to know my game to be able to keep others who would be influenced by that up to date. But what I would impart to others is, these general objectives in my life will apply equally to a greater or lesser extent to your potential students, and indeed alumni seeking to go on and develop further, because the level 6 diploma to me was not the end. It was the beginning of a course of training, and indeed, as you know, I looked at my gaps in abilities and thought it would be rather nice to supplement those with an AOSH diploma in training. But this is what one must do all the time. So the objectives of each individual will not be the same as mine. However, the assessment, the strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities, the threats in their lives will be the same. It will be the same model with different outcomes. So, and what I try to suggest to people is, there is only one you. You are responsible for yourself. But in the context of what you do as an individual, what you say, what you think, what you professionally do in your day-to-day life, has an impact on others. So you must be responsible for you as well as the impacts of what you do are on others. So yes, you're greater, you're equal to or greater than the sum of your parts. You must reach your full potential, but you must also give something useful in life to others. You must make their life valuable, because we're all on the ultimate path to where we will end up when we leave this earth, which, and that again is down to individual beliefs. But for me, life is a journey. It's a journey that leads to another journey. And as the Samaritans in the Bible, from a Christian point of view, if you see somebody at the wayside who is struggling, you go and help them. You pick them up, and you make sure that things are right for them going forward before you continue on your own journey. So I hope by what I'm saying, you know, at the very least, there are some things that resonate with your watchers, but ultimately, I would like to think that they can take something away that's positive from this session and relates to what you've asked me on CPD. I mean, you know, interestingly enough, I'm employed by a company called Amtivo, who again are a major TIC player, certification, particularly across not just SHEC but many different standards, and they themselves are attending just now a seminar for ex-military personnel to see about integrating them back to work. I've done this all my life with the Q International. Many times I've looked at helping armed forces veterans and things, and I am indeed one myself as an ex-military policeman. So, you know, that's important, but equally, you know, again, perspective, if you look at it from their point of view, they've done perhaps a career in the army. They may have just done 10 years or 15 years, whatever, but usually a career is 22 years. And suddenly they're, in effect, redundant in terms of their mental health. And you have to spin that perception around to say, no, this isn't the end of that. It's the start of a new one. And that, again, is where CPD will come in, because there will be retraining, requalification, and reorienting of skills and professional development. So this is why it's important throughout life. No matter what you do, you will reach a plateau in life where you may do a stock take, a SWOT, and you say, well, I'm going to go on for the next so many years and I need these skill sets. So it's a constant evaluation, you know. And, you know, how did I get where I am today? Well, it's by having that attitude to learning and development that I don't want to be stuck in a box. You know, I was asked when I was 16, what would you like to be? And I was thinking, well, what do I say? A pilot, you know, a policeman, an artist. Well, actually, no, I want to be whatever I want to be. I don't want to be stuck in a box. And, you know, and if there's something else I want to do in life, I'm not going to be stuck with one little rut, one little avenue. I'm going to savor life, and I'm going to enjoy life, and I'm going to try different things. And some things I won't be particularly good at. And there are some things I will fail miserably at. But from failure comes experience and learning and development. So you know that. So yeah, I'm not saying, you know, anybody should choose a particular profession, but what I am saying is, you know, the health and safety profession in particular actually cuts across so many different areas in life. And even just walking down the street and undertaking an assessment on something that may cause harm to others means that you're in a position to do something for the good. And really extrapolating that into a profession and professional environment, the business environment, means that you can do that all the more. So why not? So yeah, I don't restrict myself. I don't view myself as being limited in any way. And that is particularly more so applicable to our diverse cultures that we have. Now, if somebody's, you know, had the unfortunate circumstance where they're born and they're into a situation of being blind, being deaf, using a wheelchair, whatever, they still have as much opportunity as anybody else in front of them on their path through life. What is more so important is that we must all take responsibility for helping everybody on that journey. And that means some people may require more help than others. And so be it. I'm a firm believer and a doctor, if you like, of the principles of the 17 social development goals, sustainable development goals of the United Nations. And diversity and equality is a key platform of that, as is equality, as is reducing poverty, and through partnering, through the application of development with others under SDG 17, helping through cooperation and collaboration to achieve those goals across nations. I think we should all be aware of that and do that. And coming back to health and safety, that actually is relevant, because sustainable business uses various metrics from across the scale of business processes, as you know. And health and safety plays a key part in helping to identify metrics and develop the sustainable objectives. So again, on the basis of why health and safety, well, it's just one of many strings on that bow that is essential to seeing a better world going forward. So, you know, singer Paul Brandt says in his lyrics, "Don't tell me the sky's the limit when there are footsteps on the moon." I very much subscribe to that. You have no limits. Don't let anybody tell you that you have limits. Don't let anybody say that you cannot achieve great things. Everybody is capable of achieving great things.
Certainly.
Yeah. What is important to me is that you don't let it change you when you do achieve great things. That you remain humble and you remain aware that you are just like anybody else. Your motivations might be different. But again, you know, back to this poor kid from a terraced house in the suburbs of Middlesbrough in the UK, in my case. Sometimes when you're at the bottom of a pile of coal and you want to see further and get further, you have to climb the piles of coal and you may get dirty on the way. This is what happens, you know, and so my motivations in particular, just like anybody else who says does boxing or something and have come from a poor background, it's a way forward. What you do in DBHSE is you provide the tools to help you climb the pile. And
yes,
yeah, and people must recognize that if they're thinking of doing a course of education like the level 6, first of all, I would suggest they look at the stepping stones. Perhaps I should do the certificate level 3, level 4, and build up. Don't take too much and bite too much at once. But neither then think that it's impossible to achieve. It's just sometimes you have to take smaller bites to eat, you know, eat the thing. Now, in terms of once they've done that, what I would like to suggest is that they then, rather than looking in a narrow way, and this is addresses your CPD, you know, a health and safety professional might be guilty of thinking, oh, that the CPD I should do should just be health and safety related. Well, no. What I'm trying to suggest is that, you know, as you go through your life journey, you may take up art and drawing and things like this. You may take up, you know, some sort of musical instrument or something, but and hobbies and interests, and you will meet friends, and they will bring
yes,
more enriched experiences. Well, all of these count towards CPD. It's just up to the individual to capture that and explain how it's related. So I know what you're saying. I've done it myself. I've worked 12-hour shifts in the middle of the North Sea, middle of nowhere, 80 foot up, and the water's coming over the side of the rig. But I still, you know, I will relate with people. I will undertake hobbies and things on my shift breaks. All of these are CPD if they're written up correctly. Okay, that is one form of CPD. What I would suggest is, you know, things have changed over the years, and there are a lot of CPD elements now that have a little certificate that go with the 1 hour or 2 hour webinars.
yeah,
If those are available, then yes, nobody should use the excuse of watching a webinar on the phone for an hour as not being achievable. It is achievable, and it's a very quick intake of information. So coming back to the diploma, I would suggest if anybody's out there and they're thinking of doing it, well, they've crossed the first hurdle and the biggest hurdle. They're already on the way to doing it by thinking about it. All I have to do is subscribe to actually completing the job. But if they're already thinking about it, then they should be doing it because they've already made that first step. Anyway, so coming back then to everything I've used or learned in life, you know, this is basically my foundation. And whilst I would say, you know, you can go off on a tangent on your path, and sometimes there are dark episodes as well as light episodes, but people should be aware that, you know, they must always keep to the light. It comes back to the ethics of the individual, really, in terms of, we have moral codes and we have guidance all around us, whether it's just simply knowing inside what is right or wrong, or actually reading some scripture or something, or actually following a code of conduct from professional registration. We know what is right and what is wrong. And
Yes.
sometimes the hard path would cause people to take a darker route. But the hard path is what shapes you and molds you as an individual, and what gives you respect and trust amongst your peers. So yes, it may be easy to follow an incorrect path, but one should, not be tempted by that. I'll give you an example. I did an audit once, and I was offered money to pass the company, quite a substantial amount of money, and I said no. I said, my soul is not for sale. Well, they said, well, what can we do? I said, well, look, apart from the fact you've tried to bribe me, which I will ignore, for the purposes of going forward, I suggest you take these simple steps, and then you will be able to pass an audit. Now, the simple steps were simple in concept. They actually cost the company £1 million to implement, but they implemented, and then they were then in a position to undertake not just the contract I was auditing them for, but for many other contracts at that higher level. And in the end, they thanked me for that. And in the end, I thanked myself for not being tempted by a dark path. So sometimes, you can look back on yourself, and yeah, I will admit it, a little bit of pride comes in because you've done the right thing. And if you do that, then you have nothing to fear in life. So it is karmic. It is about life balance. But as I say, it's important that nothing is wasted, and people understand that sometimes they're put to the test, and the strength of their moral fiber will be tested, and they have to pass that test to live a full, fruitful life. So again, I'm not subscribing to a jack of all trades in terms of understanding and following different courses of learning. But, if you look at my own background, 70s and 80s, I was an electrical engineering inspector. I was in the Royal Military Police. I looked at, different aspects of both sides. But the outcome was the same. I learned to be methodical. I learned to weigh up evidence before I acted. And I gained a complete understanding of my subject before I went forward and presented information. Because there's nothing worse than producing a report and the facts are wrong. And then you what's called in general terms, hoisted by your own petard. Do your homework. And the same goes with this journey with DBHSE. What you're doing is undertaking a course of learning. You're doing your homework. You're not, for example, if I'd written a report before the level 6, now I should be able to say, oh, I knew everything before I did the level 6. Nobody will come away without learning something. And I learned several things. And if I'd done a report before the level 6, there would have been a few items not quite correct because time's moved on and technology's moved on. So this aspect of continuing the education is very important, and all part of having your facts right. Now, what else have I learned? Well, the biggest thing I've learned is about people. And let's face it, whatever we do in daily life, we're going to meet people and we're going to interact with people. So we need to understand where they're coming from, and we need to understand, that we have a responsibility. One little thing that we may say as a throwaway or casual remark can have dire consequences for those around us if taken in the wrong context, or if they're not in the right frame of mind at the time we say it. So it's important to understand people. I actually did I did some CPD once, which was it was a grief and bereavement counselling diploma. And boy, did it open my eyes, you know. This sort of understanding in terms of my own application, should we say, in management, I would know if somebody's having a bad day, there may be a root cause such as that. In terms of health and safety, when you expand that notion across to workplace environments, somebody comes and they're suffering from grief and bereavement, and their mind's not quite on their job. They could lose their life or lose a limb. So suddenly the implications are far greater. So one must always be aware of one's surroundings and the people around them, is my take on it. And so again, when we come back to CPD and you do, you know, for example, I've done this grief and bereavement diploma. I'm expected to say that, well, yes, it relates to health and safety. And somebody may reasonably say, well, how? And then you explain and suddenly all becomes clear. So nothing is wasted. So people, again, if they have hobbies, if they have family gatherings and they've learned something particular, they only need to do a thumbnail. Many awarding bodies and you know, who used accredited prior learning, for example, and professional institutions will accept a reasoned argument as to how one or another type of CPD applies to their professional maintaining professional registration. So people must be aware of that, and you know, that makes it easier, I think, going forward, because it makes it more realistic. You know, a professional, unless they're looking under a microscope at some biological thing, and that's the nth degree, and it's the only applicable item in their repertoire, then yes, they may be a bit limited. But generally, people are interacting with other people, and there's so many different facets involved in that we can cast the net and say it applies as CPD. So, what do qualifications mean? I'm coming on now to qualifications. Really, you know, people should do what they like. This life is a journey. It's only relatively short journey in real terms. They should do what they like as a profession. If they find, you know, the younger they are, if they find that the profession doesn't suit them, then they're at a good age to switch. As time goes on, you're not so attractive as a candidate than a youngster when certain job positions come along. So everybody should always be willing to change direction and take some academic qualifications to underpin that. And I have a master's degree. It was in entrepreneurship and new venture development. But this qualification did not make me an entrepreneur. And that's something inside. But what it did do is give me some tools. And as I said before, DBHSE has a toolbox full of tools. And you know, you can select from those and underpin certainly your health and safety profession. But equally with other programs that you provide, I know that they can be tailored. So people can say, well, I'd like to delve into this area now or that area. I mean, just one aspect of health and safety, you know, if you consider health and safety as a subject, fine, it's got a format, it's got principles and protocols to follow. But then when you take that one step further and put it into industrial sectors, like the nuclear industry where I've worked, or the food safety management sector, then there are particular nuances again. And again, the CPD, the qualifications, they help underpin the expertise in that area. Back to DBHSE and my due diligence. Qualifications are one thing, but accredited qualifications are quite another. And it's the accredited element that's important as well, because they give validation that one is on the right path with a training and CPD route. Because without the structure and the discipline behind that accreditation, one can soon find that the qualification they hold is not as highly valued as perhaps it would otherwise be. I see this in the certification market. There are accredited certification bodies, IAF member accredited certification bodies, And there are certification bodies that have no accreditation, and they say they stand equal. Well, they don't. They're not subject to scrutiny. They're not subject to protocols. They're not subject to independence and impartiality, particularly, I would say. And you know, they would be very hard pushed to demonstrate that they are. The point with accredited means they've already demonstrated they are. They've proven it to an outside awarding body or whatever to become registered. And well done on HSE International doing that. So let's see. I haven't wasted anything in my life. I used my master's to develop a pump priming company to fund QA International. My SHEC qualifications have obviously looked after me for some 40 years of my life now. I can talk at board level on all of the different areas I've covered in my qualifications and experience. And what's important as well is that I use my underpinning technical expertise as an engineer, as a European engineer, it's in terms of looking at the horizon and seeing what's to come. Now, you know, you must, again, look at context. Look at context. When I started QA International, there was no World Wide Web. Well, there was a World Wide Web, but that was it. 10,000 companies. Now you've got thousands of them. But, you know, this aspect of being able to get a message across social media, well, there was no social media. You know, the life we have now, some 40 years on, 30 years on in terms of QA International is fantastic. We can have forums like this. We can share expertise, cross-fertilize. We can encourage each other, help each other, provide training and development. It's fantastic. And the IT systems have evolved to such an extent looking forward that you know, that robotics, you know, artificial intelligence, all of these things are on the horizon and they're within our grasp and they're here in some respects. So it's a very exciting time for those involved now. Where does that relate to health and safety? Well, our practices, our procedures may be slightly changed to accommodate the technology, but the accommodation of the technology will change significantly how we go about our business.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. So just from that point alone, it is worth undertaking modern training and modern development. And modern is only relative to the time you take it. So that's your inference that CPD will keep your knowledge current. And everybody must be aware of that. Again, the impact of hobbies can contribute to personal development so that nothing is wasted. But there are high points and there are low points. And again, this is where we need to support each other. I mean, I've had a few high points. Some of them are quite obvious. You know, I developed an international company. I was quite proud of that. Quite difficult. I had a partner. We went through a lot of problems to get to the point where we had a running company that was making good profit. But you know, all of those built and shaped us as individuals. The low points, you know, I often felt lonely. As you know yourself, Dr. Debjyoti, business hours can be 16, 20 hours long. And sometimes, you know, we deal with stress. We have to deal with many different problems, external and internal to the company. But at the end of the day, we're building something. And we're building a monument to our own hard work and looking after the interests of others. And I would extrapolate that across to the individuals who would attend your courses. They're building their own monuments and they are a monument to themselves. And when they look back after a full life at what they've built in terms of their own application, it would be so lovely if they felt proud. They should feel proud. I've been shot at in Turkey, believe it or not, in the coup. I was actually in a hotel room and all the front got shot out, and then they came into the hotel and started shooting the corridors. 10mm plasterboard separated me from those those bandits. But
You went to Mumbai also, you said, right? You visited India also, right?
I had an office in India, in Mumbai, but I tended to meet my India counterparts
Oh, okay.
in Dubai
Okay.
because it was central to our different offices that we'd have a conference and things. But
Okay.
yes, yeah. So I think that's probably it. The high points, they come with hard work, but they don't just necessarily mean the business. For example, this aspect of helping others. I've helped on campaigns to bring women into engineering where their prospects were very low in the 80s. We now have moved on significantly, and I'm so proud of that. I've helped put those in the engineering profession. So again, the application of hard work and learning will bring new opportunities, but it's no good having a certificate on the wall and then just looking at it. I think what one has to recognize is that need to do something with that knowledge.
Yes.
They have to, and they have to best value it by giving the knowledge and experience to others, which is really what I'm doing now. I would also say they need to achieve a work-life balance. Work for the sake of work is not good for anybody. You work to live. You don't live to work. And people need to not forget that. And they need to be able to focus their energies and then go for it. And that means doing the homework. But when I look, looking forward now, what way has qualification benefited my career? I would say this: if you do have a reasonable level of qualification and you do maintain that qualification through continuing learning, you have a professional standing and a respect that automatically goes with that. I do speeches and I do talks to other industry professionals. And I want to say that I do that because they know from my application of learning and development that I'm competent and I'm an up-to-date practitioner. That gives me the professional acceptance that not only have I got the underpinning learning, that I'm actually learning new things. And any of your students and alumni should thrive on learning new things. As I say, it's not the end, it's the beginning of the journey. In some work environments, certified professionals are actually unusual, and particularly in the smaller scale industries. Such a person as those who've attained their qualifications and maintained their learning, they stand out against other unregulated professions. And that again tells employers that that they're certified and up to date and that their business is safe in their hands. So there's, as again, multifaceted, and this will help in the career because those employers that have that will to demonstrate they have a good business equally demonstrate that they invest in their people and they respect their people who work for them. So things like paying for training and things like this, I would love to think that a good employer would support that. Equally, I'd like to think that that they would help them develop further within their particular profession, within their particular business environment. So that's how my qualifications benefited my career. They've helped me build a business. They've helped me maintain other businesses, and they've helped me spread the word through professional forums that there are many things that are achievable in an ever developing world of technological evolution. The employer benefits from the qualifications because, again, it demonstrates competence not only of the individual but also of the business. And there's an expectation now of excellence in leadership. And part of demonstrating that is having people on board, advisors, and industry professionals such as health and safety professionals who can help present the brand. to give it its fullest benefit, you know. And DBHSE, I might suggest, is an international trusted and respected brand, and I've checked that for myself. So again, I would offer encouragement to others to take that on board when they're looking at their learning. The ultimate take-home message then is it's about people. Drop your ego. Everybody's learning and they're learning all the time. They will make mistakes. Do not be afraid to ask others on your journey if you need help. Be patient with others, be understanding of others, and be an example of others. The core motto with the military police was exemplar decimus, which is by example we lead. And I think that's very true. And I'll take that with me to the end of my journey and always try to set a good example. You need to make people feel special and understand that it's not all about performance. It's also about variety and creativity. And I mentioned inclusion. That means networking and reaching out, not sitting looking at your certificates of achievement. Reach out, contact people, encourage them and help them through their journey also. Even if you're outside of your comfort zone, like I am now. Yeah. So
The feeling
what's
is true.
yeah, what's left for me? Well, I will continue learning. I've always said it's in any of the interviews and things I've had in the past. I will always be learning. I look at emerging standards and emerging technology as part of my day job anyway. I did over 1,500 hours last year of research, my own research, as part of my job, but a lot of it was. So, you know, I've achieved my objectives, but I hope I've helped others recognize or at least think about some of theirs. I hope I've given them some inspiration, and I hope I've given them comfort in their own abilities, because everybody is capable of doing anything. And just as a final note, Dr. Debjyoti, I would like to acknowledge your kind invitation to talk. I would like to thank DBHSE International for its faith in me as an individual, and that I hold knowledge that might be useful to others. I would like to thank Debjani and her work,
Thank
and thank you, and the back office staff, without which this discussion certainly would not have been possible. And of course, I cannot leave out dear Mr. Tuhin. Oh boy,
Keep watching.
I'm a difficult person to deal with sometimes, and he never failed. He gave me fantastic presentations and materials, and
Indeed.
some much needed support. It's always difficult when you have a specialist of long standing talking about things. You always find something to disagree about, but we had no disagreements. It was as smooth, plain sailing as it could have been. And yes, I'm sure we enhanced each other's knowledge, to be fair. And I thank you again for your kind attention. And as far as the listeners of this program go, you know, I hope they find a clear and balanced path through life. I'd like to say that over to you now, Dr. Debjyoti, but thank you, and I hope this discussion has helped.
I do not think that it has only helped me and the viewers, but also I believe that whoever will be watching this video afterwards, they all will be enlightened with your journey. So what we have got to learn, and I just want to point out something that we have learned, that I have learned especially, that see, I have met with a lot of intelligent and genius people, and also I met with people who are doing nothing. So as I have met across various categories of people, what also I have learned in my life and also throughout my career is in a very simple, in a nutshell way, if I can say that either you lose your life or you limb, that I've learned from Mr. Allen today. And I'm going to use it and make it popular. It means if we are not successfully identifying the hazards which are coming in our life and which are already there, and if we are not if we are unable to identify the risk also in our life, not always this risk assessment on health and safety, always it lies in the workplace and to save the asset of the company and the mother nature. But there are certain things we can do with health and safety is also with our life, and how we can take the best decision in our life, and how we can walk properly in our life and do what to say, a good thing to the society. So my message to always to the learners and anyone whoever is studying the HSC profession, I have not seen HSC as a subject that also Mr. Alan has said. I have seen HSC is a platform, is a scope that we not only can save the people who are working in the plant, but also we can save the society, our surroundings, and our planet Earth. Because it is absolutely true that you are not going to get paid if you are doing something for the society or for yourself. But are we only looking forward to get paid whatever we carry out the activities? Absolutely not. So the knowledge that you are gathering from any institute, from any courses whatsoever. Now, being a neutral person and a person who wants to deliver something and a spread, I just want to tell everyone that, as Mr. Alan also has said, that life is a journey. Okay. And what do we understand by the word journey? It's like, okay, today I have successfully completed my day, I met some objectives, and then I have to go to sleep. No, journey should have a dark episode and a bright episode, correct? And it is not something that you will be deciding what kind of episode you're going to have tomorrow or today or now. Uh, it will be decided by the Lord. So you are just a part of that episode. You need to know how you need to deal with that bright and the dark episode. So to all the HSC professionals, I want to tell, and on behalf of Mr. Alan, that your completion of any course is just the beginning. And if Mr. Alan, in this particular age and having this much of experience, if he feels and if he thinks that this is just a journey, then the people who has less experience, why we cannot, right? And the second thing that we have to learn from Mr. Alan, that after completing everything, he was a successful global founder. He had 800 employees. So he was not only the HSC professional, but also he was a business owner and establishing the business. So whatever knowledge he gathered from the HSC, he did not only utilize in the workplace, but also in the company. So you can do a lot with this, with the knowledge of health and safety. Even I am doing it. I do not read anything. I only follow the risk assessment. I follow the steps and I try to identify the hazard and the risk which is there in my life. So yeah, what I do, this is what I do always. And that's to be very frank, sir, if you just go for the risk matrix, I always do one thing, that this is going to happen in my life. So what would be the probability and what would be the likelihood? Then I'm going to multiply. And people may think that I'm speaking because just to promote something. Absolutely not. It is a promotion. Yes, you can try it. It's not something that you need to give the risk assessment report to your manager. It's something that you have to make a report for yourself, so that you can do the risk management plan as well. So, and also if you talk about the control measure, so it is not always related to identifying the control measure from the workplace, but try to find out. Let's say you are not able to concentrate on the study. So you need to find out the risk and the hazard. Why? What kind of potential is asking you not to study or forcing you not to study? Find out the problem. Find out the control measure. The first control measure would be, let's eliminate the problem that is giving me trouble to study. So there are a lot of things that we can do with the health and safety. And that's all from my side. And very, like, I'm planning to come on live with another great people, such as Mr. Alan. And I hope that we will have a very long journey with Mr. Alan, because it is just the beginning. So thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Alan. A salute from my
Thank you,
side.
sir. Thank you, sir.
And
Thank you,
salute
sir.
to all of you. Namaste. Hare
Namaste.
Krishna. Amen. Praise the Lord. And thank you so much for attending the session. Thank you so much. We are ending up the session. Thank you, Mr. Allen. And thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Great and good night. Thank you.